Hey guys, welcome to Magic the Chattering. I'm Alvin.
And I'm Nick.
This week's Spartan giveaway winner is Tanwing Yu.
Thank you for the f***ing advice, Dan. Yeah, you do have a point. I mean, I should curse less when I'm talking on camera because at the end of the day, some of our viewers are pretty young. So yeah. Tanwing Yu wins 15 Spartan credits.
So again, congrats Tanwing Yu. So if you would like to win a Spartan giveaway, just comment in the comments below.
The comment section below.
That moves us to our news this week, starting with number 5.
Malaysian WMCQ winner, Syed Zulkarnain.
Congrats Syed Zulkarnain. He took the first WMCQ for Malaysia on the back of Red Deck wins.
Red Deck won. Yeah, that's my fun of the week. Yeah. It won, man. It won. The Malaysian meta was a copy-paste of like GP London last weekend. There was a lot of hanger back Abzan. There was a lot of Abzan control. Syed Zulkarnain did make the correct choice this weekend.
Yeah, and considering as well that like the top 8 had like 3 Mardu Dragons, he had to battle through to reach the finals with Red Deck wins. It goes to show that Red Deck wins in a meta rife with dragons. I think it's pretty good.
Correct choice. Congrats, bro.
Syed Zulkarnain is going with Raymond Tan as part of Team Malaysia. So good on ya.
I look forward to the next 2 members that are gonna win via Descartes Modern WMCQ and also CNH Standard WMCQ in September.
So stay tuned.
Number 4.
Deck Tech of the Week, Grixis Control.
On the other side of the world, in America, we had an SCG Open, which was modern in format.
Yeah.
It was won by Jan, but our deck tag of the week is Michael Majors piloting Grixis Control. Let's have a look at the deck list.
A major change to this deck list compared to previous Grixis Control decks is that it plays 4 Jace Vryn's Prodigy.
Yeah, I gotta say that's pretty ballsy, man. Considering that the last time we had a big modern event was at GP Singapore.
Yeah.
It's pretty good to see Magic Origins slowly seeping into modern.
Jace, I think he really works really well in the Grixis Control shell. In that, he serves a dual purpose as well. So as a creature, he feeds Snapcaster Mage, he feeds Tasigur.
Yeah.
And then once he flips over into Planeswalker form, he acts as Snapcaster number 5 to 8.
Yeah, I gotta say that Grixis Control is very well positioned in the meta right now. It can take on most of the decks that we have in the modern meta.
Yeah.
Combo decks like Splinter Twin, beatdown decks like Infect and Red Deck Wins, and also mid-range decks like Abzan.
Yeah, I mean, considering that it works really well with the deck itself, like Jace works really well with Kolagan's Command, bringing previous iterations of Jace back. It's a solid addition to a deck that already runs on value.
Yeah. Now he's turning 2/4/1s into like another 2/4/1.
3/4/1s, man.
3/4/1s, yeah, that's just obscene. So yeah, going forward into the WMCQ Modern weekend, in 2 weeks' time, I look forward to see more Magic Origin cards take a central role in Modern.
Looking at last week, the first place deck, Jan ran like 1 copy of Abbot of Carol's Keep. It goes to show that, Magic Origins actually has some pretty powerful cards.
There was even like 4 Harbinger of Tides in the second place deck, Merfolk. Yeah. The power level of Magic Origins is pretty high enough that it's starting to affect the Modern meta.
Now you imagine Abbot of Carol's Keep in Grixis Control shells, or even in Grixis Delver.
Or even in Red Deck Wins.
Yeah, it's just so much value.
It's pretty obscene. I guess only time will tell. We look forward to seeing more Magic Origins in the second WMCQ in 2 weeks' time. Next up,
number 3.
Weekly Metagame Update. Just coming off GP London 2 weeks ago,
and WMCQ last week,
we can see that the new King of the Hill is Mardu Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, having secured 3 places in the top 8 in WMCQ Malaysia, pretty strong in the current meta.
Yeah, if you look at the top 5 deck archetypes of the Malaysian WMCQ, you can see the first one is Abzan, being 32%. I guess
Abzan as always.
Most Malaysians just copy-pasted Hangerback Walker deck list.
Come to think of it, Abzan is still a very solid choice. It is, I think, the go-to deck of the meta because it can handle everything equally well.
The second highest most played deck was Mardu Dragons at 11%. I have to say that most of these were like Team Descartes.
Yeah.
Pretty good choice for the meta, guys.
It's a good choice. It's very sweet. We'll get into the Mardu Dragons in a bit.
The third most played deck was Jeskai at 10%. This is a deck just waiting to break out.
I think Jeskai, the shell itself is very strong.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a strong finisher yet, though. I think that's probably one of the reasons.
I guess so. The fourth most played deck was Red Deck Wins at 9%.
You can never go wrong with Red Deck Wins.
Yes.
I mean, it's just in a field where dragons are just about everywhere. The ability to go under them, to curve out before they go into their dragons and deal enough damage that all you need is like a couple of burn spells to finish off. I think it's a very, very sweet deck in contention to Mardu Dragons.
Yep. The last one is Red Green Devotion, by the way.
Yeah.
Such an ancient choice from like 4 weeks ago. But yeah, still strong in the meta, I guess. Yeah. Looking at the top 8 listing though, it tells a different story. Team Decats put 3 of their members into the top 8 just on the back of Mardu Dragons.
Yeah, it is a very, very solid metagame choice right now.
Yeah.
You have the definite threats and what greater threat than dragons? You have Stormblast Dragons, you have Thunderbreak Regions, you have Kolagan Storm's Fury. Just one of each of these will be lethal on the board straight away.
Yeah, you can swing for 21 when you dash your Kolagan Storm's Fury.
Exactly. So it's a very strong shell, and to round it off, they have Goblin Rebel Masters and so far Grandmaster. It works really, really well with Draconic Roar, Crackling Doom.
And Anger of the Gods.
From the side. It's
so much life gain from behind.
Having it sweep once and then you just gain 20 life over again, it's amazing. Apart from that, you have other answers like Chain to the Rocks, which I think is a key card.
Yeah, it's the best answer last weekend for stuff like Hangerback Walker and Death Raptor.
A lot of 1-for-1 answer spells that works in the field because you don't need anything else to stop your dragons going through.
Yeah.
They already have flying, you just deal with the flyers. They're big enough, you just deal with whatever is big enough. I mean, Arbor closest, thank you, Chain to the Rocks. I think that's why
it puts so many Team Decats players into the top 8. Yeah, I mean, rounding out the Malaysian top 8, we also saw 1 copy of Jan Dragons and 1 copy of Rakdos Dragons. I guess flying is the way to go in the next few weeks.
Yeah, right.
So going forward, Mardu Dragons is now King of the Hill, but would it open up, a new King of the Hill, maybe by CNH standard WMCQ?
Jeskai aggro, not getting there yet, but maybe, with a meta rife with dragons, it might be able to sneak under.
Yeah, I foresee the early days of KTK when you had the Jeskai decks ruling supreme.
Yeah.
The ones with Mantis Rider,
Seeker of the
Way, Goblin Rebel Master. Now they too can have the dragon package.
Talking about the dragon package, I think Esper Dragons also a really good call against Mardu Dragons right now.
Yeah, because Mardu Dragons is pretty soft against Esper Dragons. When you're top decking answer after answer and your opponent's a control deck, I feel, Esper Dragons might be perfectly positioned to win at CNH standard WMCQ.
Yeah, only one way to see. So that's all for our metagame update for the week. Next up, number 2.
Linchpin cards of the week.
Our first Linchpin card, Chain to the Rocks.
So as we said earlier, Chain to the Rocks is the correct call for this weekend. In a weekend where 32% of the field is playing Abzan, the fact that you can take out a Hangerback Walker or you can take out a Death Raptor for the cost of 1 white, it's very, very integral.
I think it is key, especially against Hangerback Walker and Death Raptor as well, because these 2 cards, having them die is integral to what makes them so good.
Yeah, because of the fact that once they die, they either come back or they just sprout a lot of tokens.
Yeah, having that part of them just nullified by being exiled, perfect.
It's as good as this weekend it was Path to Exile. The other Linchpin card of the week is Eidolon of Great Revels.
Yeah.
Aside Joe Icho piloted raid that wins all the way to the finals, winning it in the end. And I feel most of it was on the back of Eidolon of Great Revels.
Yeah, again, I think it's also the perfect card against Mardu Dragons. Having all the key removal spells being 3 cost and lower, and having Eidolon dealing 2 to 4 damage by itself, it already makes back its value.
That's a super good ROI, man, for a raid card.
Exactly, and with that damage, it just brings them closer to lethal burn range.
Yeah, once I'm holding an exquisite firecraft in my hand and a Stoke of the Flames,
yeah,
and I have an Eidolon on the table. Thank you very much.
That's
GG.
easily 12 damage, just like that, out of nowhere.
Lastly, our last Linchpin card of the week is Harnessed by Force. This was integral in the top 8. Zulkarnain was fighting against a red-green devotion deck. Opponent tapped out for Arbor Colossus, and he managed to top deck the Harnessed by Force for the win.
Yeah, I mean, top decking aside, it's a threaten with more value, especially with in mono red builds, where the extra red doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Having it able to strive if you are mana flooding.
Yeah.
I think that's also key to why it's way better than Threaten. It's kind of telling that our 3 Linchpin cards of the week are all from Teros block, which is about to be rotated out.
We're gonna miss you all.
It's kind of sad that they kind of made their debut late into their standard season.
That's just the way of the meta, I guess.
Well, that's it for our Linchpin cards of the week. So we're going on to
number 1.
Vancouver Mulligan.
Yeah, it was announced by the mothership over the weekend that the Vancouver Mulligan, which they tested out at Proto Magic Origins, is finally going to come into effect during the BFZ pre-release Battle for Zendika at the end of September.
We will take a look at what the Vancouver Mulligan entails. In a nutshell, it's the normal Mulligan, but you get to scry 1, after you keep your Mulligan hand. So
I feel that's huge.
Yeah,
how do you think it changes aggro?
It's way easier for aggro to now keep a 1 land hand because they are able to scry up the first card of their library, ship it down if it's not a land, and get another land by turn 2 or by turn 3. It makes them play more aggressively, lets them mulligan more aggressively.
Makes sense. What about mid-range?
Well, for mid-range as well, like before this, having to mulligan into a 3-lander kind of was like the death toll of mid-range, because you wanted to hit that 4th and 5th land. But now with the scrying ability, you are able to, because you scry 1. If it's not a land, you can ship it down. If it's a removal spell, you can still keep it because you still have your 3-lander. Being able to make your hand more consistent, make your deck more consistent, I think it's really, really sweet for mid-range decks.
And lastly, for control?
Now, keeping a 4-land hand or a 5-land hand doesn't feel so bad. Now you know whether you're going to be drawing into more lands or more spells.
I guess, yeah, once you keep a 4-lander or a 5-lander, you want to mulligan fast to your language?
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect. I think it is the perfect addition, actually.
It will only take effect for us regular people at the end of September during the BFZ pre-release, but the Vancouver Mulligan will be featured again this weekend at PAX Prime when they're doing the World Championship 2015.
All right.
I look forward to see how the Vancouver Mulligan would affect Modern and Legacy, actually.
And Limited as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in Limited, where having your land come in at the right time or your color come in at the right time is key, to having your deck work the way you set it up. I think it's just a beautiful addition to Limited.
And I wonder how it affects Commander.
Yeah, the Commander as well. Because right now, I think a lot of metas have the partial mulligan rule, where you can mulligan any number of cards in your hand and just draw that many cards. Are they going to implement this? Are they, is Sheldon going to make it official?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we just have to wait and see for Commander. So that was the top 5 stories for Magic the Chattering this week. Next week we'll be having a PAX Prime special, so stay tuned to our next episode next Thursday.
What do you think of the Vancouver Mulligan? Tell us in the comment section below. You never know, you might win the Spartan giveaway next week.
And if you like us, as always, subscribe or even share our videos. Signing off.
Yeah, I fucking learned my lesson, man. Not right to fucking curse, trying to fucking talk. I'll make sure I fucking remember that, bro. Thanks.